Hello, card game enthusiasts, and welcome to Rogue Realms.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, Noah?
I'm alright. Feeling good. Usual stuff. We're doing a bit of an interesting topic today.
Yeah, so we're in the midst of the competitive season for Dragon Ball Super 2018, and I know it's tough for people who don't have a lot of money. I'm kind of one of those people. I make more concessions towards paying for my decks probably than most budget players, but
Yeah, same here.
you know, in Yu-Gi-Oh, I definitely see myself playing a lot more budget. I like to keep costs down where I can, if I can. It's hard when Ash Blossoms are like $90. They're not anymore, but they were when I was playing more seriously. So.
So we've shown
Yeah.
you guys in the past what the first place of, I forgot the date, but the second regionals that there was, I believe, the first place of that was probably the most consistent build of the red-blue that we've seen so far. That is currently going for a price of around $300 to build that deck.
That sounds perfectly affordable. I think I'm going to go out and buy that deck right now.
Yeah, totally. That's a real smart thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Why would I need to pay my bills?
obviously there are, there's always different, I can't think of the word. Whatever.
Options?
Well, no, I wanted to say something along the lines of there are, the price may go down because you already own the cards and so on and so forth. There's different circumstances. That's the word. But just buying the deck straight up from leader to burst attack Gohans, especially.
Yeah.
That's a very
Say all
$70
you
cards.
have. Say all you have is the freaking any of the starter decks other than the blue one, because the blue one will actually get you stuff towards one of our budget decks. But say you bought any of the starter decks and you want to start playing more competitively, these are definitely good jumping off points to go to a more competitive event if you want to have a good time and don't want to break the bank.
When we were building up these decks, we were editing, this deck specifically, this first place deck, we were editing on the fact that we want to spend under $100. So we go on TCG Player, put in the cards that we want to put in. There are certain cards that you kind of need, even if you don't think that you'll be playing this deck forever, you need certain cards like the Senzu Bean. That card is a staple in any and all blue deck, and if you're wanting to play the red Trunks stuff, you need Chain Attack Trunkses and you need the Intensifying Power Trunkses. There's really no way around that. I believe that the Digging Deep Vegeta is pretty important too, but that's only 7 cents right now. So,
So we've got 2 budget decks for you guys, and both of them are actually around $60. The red-blue is a little bit more spendy. I believe our pure red deck is under $60 still.
Yes, as of right now it is. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to move over here. We're going to have a look at our red-blue SS3 Goku build for those on a budget, which obviously this is probably the best leader in the format right now.
Right now, this card and the new Vegeta, I'd say, are probably going to fight for the top. I'd say.
Oh yeah, the new Vegeta's really good.
It is really good. This one's faster, unfortunately, still, but who knows? Some things might pop up like that. Mass Saiyan card that they were talking about may actually end up making that Vegeta stronger.
Yeah, the Vegeta is definitely more of a more. Yeah, it's better when you get into the longer games.
It is. It definitely is.
All right, so we're gonna run down the list. Obviously, you're playing SS3 Goku. And for those of you who don't know, this card is amazing. Basically, on your first turn, you discard 1 card, then you take 2 cards from your life, place them in energy. You're instantly ahead of your opponent, unless they are also playing SS3 Goku.
And if you're going first in this, with this deck, it's just so much of a lead that your opponent will never catch up.
It's quite brutal, yeah. The flip side... Oh, wait, does the front...
No, it doesn't do anything.
No, it doesn't do anything. Okay.
It does not do
so
anything.
On the flip side, once you awaken, It's draw 2 cards, right?
It is draw 2 cards, yeah.
It's like the only one in Crossworlds, I think, that's draw 2 cards. I could be wrong about that, but most of them are stand 2 energy.
I do not know off the top of my head.
So this card is going to stand 3 of your energy at the end of each turn, end of your turn.
And as the obligatory when you attack, draw a card.
Yeah. Very powerful. It's going to leave you set up to defend yourself every single turn, basically. The only caveat to that is you can never have more than 6 energy.
But in this current meta, that doesn't matter. If you get to 6 energy, you are A, doing something wrong, and B, like, you're up against a stall deck, which shouldn't really be that possible right now.
Thing is, the reason this really works, I think, is because your battle cards aren't going to be fighting for resources with your extra cards, because most of your extra cards are getting played on your opponent's turn. So
yep, and the only one that isn't is 0 cost anyways.
All right. Obviously, you got to play Intensifying Power Trunks. It's one of the. It's not very spendy. It's like $1.50.
Something around those lines.
But those add up. It's one of the spendier commons. Not the spendiest. We'll get to that in a second. 3 copies of Chain Attack Trunks. This is pretty much the core of your strategy. You want to play this and have one of your other cards go off. When you play this card, choose up to 1 battle card from your hand with 15,000 or less power and play it.
Those 3 Chain Attack Trunks will cost you around $9.
Yeah, that one, that's a starter rare. It came in the starter deck. The other one that's a starter rare is the Unbreakable Super Saiyan Son Goku, but
which the Unbreakables will only cost you about $5, so
yeah,
they're not even $1 each, at least right now as of recording this.
So probably your spendiest part of this deck is going to be the Sensu Beans. It's going to be up there. Acquiring 4 of them anyway.
Yes, acquiring
4 of them. It might not be the
them.
most expensive card, but as a playset, it's going to be your spendiest purchase.
No, you're probably right on that. Getting a set of Senzu Beans is about $21.
Yeah, for a common, they're not cheap.
No.
So.
And they're from set 1 too, so.
Yeah.
That's a card that I feel will, like, I would love to see reprints in this game, but just don't give us the same card art. I want to see different card arts for the reprints. Brian Justice Topo. It's really good in this deck, considering you can actually still use it as a negate. You get the 2 energy
in this deck.
Since you do get that 2 energy standing. It's just a great attacker all around too. Good clear on the board, so on and so forth. This card, 3 of them all together. I have it written down here.
Topo's pretty cheap. He's only like $1 or something.
Yeah, you only need $2 to get 3 of them.
Yeah.
Now the Jiren Fist of Justice was one of the changes.
This is one of the biggest changes we made to the deck. We did use the first place deck as a starting point. It's considerably different from where it was originally, but
it is.
Jiren is a really powerful card
and was in the meta quite a bit near the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, and it was really spendy for a while. But lately,
it was still spendy as of Crossworlds.
Lately, it has gone down quite a bit to, like, I think $3 at the most right now. So only a playset of this is like about $9.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's sort of been power crept by Digging Deep Vegeta, who achieves some of the same goals. But since we're playing on a budget, this card is going to help you apply the pressure even more.
I completely agree. Speaking of Digging Deep Vegeta, you'll be playing. You'll be playing 3 of those.
It's my new favorite card. It's so good.
You could easily bump it up to 4 if you don't want to play that 3rd Jiren or even that 3rd Terrasalt Frost that's coming up.
Yeah, you have options here. You don't have to play this exactly as shown.
This is just, again, it's a layout. Right now, Digging Deep Vegeta is like around 7 cents, so it's definitely one of the cheapest cards here. Same with the Terrasalt Frost that's coming up, might be 14 cents.
Like, in this deck, Digging Deep Vegeta can help you awaken literally on your 2nd turn. So, it's very powerful.
Very, very. So, the Terrasalt Frost, it's a really good card to play off of Chain Attack Trunks. It gets you that instant KO whenever you battle something. It's a double striker. If your opponent is for some reason still unawakened, you can give them that extra damage when you do KO something, but that's very unlikely to happen. It's just a nice little removal card and will apply pressure like this deck is trying to do.
Yeah.
Then
we got the Zenos. There's really not much to say about them. It's just there to reset the board. If you wanted to, you could literally play anything else in this slot, but it's getting played a lot, so you might want to have your own on hand, even if it's in the side deck.
Yeah, I'd mainly put in the side deck, and I think I'd replace it for a Digging Deep Vegeta and another Raging Spirit Sun Gohan.
Those would be pretty good choices, yeah.
I think that's what I would do if I were to make this deck.
Raging Spirit Sun Gohan is basically an obligatory choice at this point.
Yep, it's
almost every deck except Green has these kind of cards going for them.
The only one that Green has is the Martial Expert Tien Shinhan, and that's a 2 to play. Although it does have really good ability when it's on the board, it's still a little steep to really run in this current meta. The Raging Spirit Sun Gohans will get you about, for 4 of them, it's $2, so this gets you about $1.50 for 3.
This is basically just another card that you can use your energy for on your opponent's turn.
Yep, it's a nice early game lead, especially if you don't have your 1-drop and you have it in your hand. You know, it's a really good turn 2 drop. This next one we have, it is Legendary Flute. There are 3 of them here, and it's probably about $1 or so for the 3. But if you are doing this after September 21st, 2018, remember that they are moving this down to limited, so it will only be 1 allowed in the deck. You should still run it in the deck as 1 because it is still a really good 1-of, but to replace those other 2 Legendary Flutes, we suggest to do just 2 more of the Whis' Coercion.
Yeah, you might as well play more negates. You're free to do with it what you will. In that case, I mean, there's also Furthering Destruction Champa you could add another copy of. There's all kinds of things.
Or hell,
but really,
do exactly what I said before, another Digging Deep, another Gohan, whatever you really want to do. Yeah. It's a very replaceable card. It sucks. It's kind of sucks that it's getting limited, but at the same time, I think it's good for the game.
There is going to still be one regional event, I think, this season that is going to have this limited. So, that's sure important to keep in mind.
Yeah,
the last one in September.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Well then, the next one is Ghost Attack Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. This card has also seen a lot of play in the meta format. It's mainly just a late game card. If you get to late game, if you don't, that's even better, honestly. It's basically just if your opponent is stalling you enough and you have that 5 energy, it's a kind of a steep cost with 3 red. It's a little hard to get with this kind of deck, but it's still possible, and it's a good card. I see this deck kind of getting low on hand a bit, so those ghost tokens should have double strike.
Yeah, as long as you're able to play most of your hand before putting this on the board, you should be fine. And it's going to rush down your opponent really hard at the end of the game anyway.
It's also very cheap at these 3 copies costing 50 cents. So
I think the only reason that this card is really worth playing is because of all the decks that aren't SS3 Goku, I think.
Exactly.
This is going to help you against a lot of the longer drawn out games, like if you're playing against yellow or something.
Yeah. The super combos now, I say in a blue deck you should run a Kibito Kai, especially if you're going for the cheaper side, because Powers Combined Kibito Kai is really cheap, while Boost Attack Piccolo from the first set is still really expensive.
So you can play any combination of super combos you want here, but Boost Attack Piccolos are like $3 a pop, so you're going to be... a lot of your budget is going to end up going towards that if you do go for the Piccolos. Whereas you can pick up 4 copies of Kibito Guy for under $1, so...
Yep,
and it's still pretty good.
The only downside of Kibito Kai is that draw off your super combo is not really guaranteed. You have to A, get lucky, or B, use it when you're attacking. So as much as it has saved my life in multiple games, I understand that this card has its weaknesses, and Boost Attack Piccolo, in my current deck that I'm thinking about, I am running a 50-50 of both of these, and so far it's working out for me, so I like the 50-50.
Yeah, and no matter which super combos you're playing, we're still playing Unbreakable Super Saiyan Son Goku, so you still have cards to get that draw.
In this deck especially, since those 3 standing energy at the end of every one of your turns, this one cost 10k for a draw isn't honestly that bad. It's honestly it's pretty good.
Especially with all the resources you have on your opponent's turn.
And same with the Mafuba that we are going on to. It's also a very cheap card at 2 copies being the 40 cents. You have the extra energy, and this card just completely gets a battle card off the board for 2 turns, I think, technically speaking. Yeah,
this is especially good if your opponent has like an intensifying power Trunks that they're swinging with, because and you expect that they're going to drop the chain attack afterward.
Yep.
You can just hit it and make them just not able to do basically anything for the rest of the turn.
For their next turn, at least, they might just have to stall it out.
Chances are they're not playing 2-drop, so if they only have 2 energy left, then they just can't really do anything.
Whis Coercion, it's a good card. It stands energy. It's just a free negate, basically. Again, you can have 4 in here. There's room to put that in, so go for it. Whis is about 50 cents still. Still okay, so that means the playset's only $2. That's fine. Yeah, it's definitely something that you should pick up. This kind of Whis is one of those staples that if you ever plan to play any sort of blue in your deck, that's a good negate to put.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is about Fu, but for some reason, like the creators of this card game really like Fu because they keep giving him really good cards.
Yeah, I've never run into Fu in anything. I guess I don't have all the DLC for Xenoverse 2, but I've never seen him in anything except for this card game.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm aware, he's much more present in Dragon Ball Heroes. I think that's what the one is called in Japan, the arcade game.
But anyways, this guy right here is very, very powerful. This deck was originally running Scientist Fu, which Scientist Fu, 2 copies of it is about $26, so...
Yeah, it's really expensive.
And
the nice thing about Dimensional Banisher Fu is it comes in... Well, I guess it's just a rare in...
Colossal Warfare.
But it's really cheap.
It's a cheaper one. I guess I didn't write down the price for this one, unfortunately. But if it's in here...
I'm pretty sure it's not worth too much. It's just a rare.
It's not. But again, it's overwhelm 5, 1 energy. Again, very easy to have that extra energy. And it just lets you... Basically, it just lets you send a card to the warp. To one of your opponent's cards to their warp. Yeah. Like, just an easy removal. I don't think it ignores barrier. Which if it did, I think this card would be so much more powerful than it actually is. The last card is Furthering Destruction Champa. It helps you put on a bit more pressure in the early game or late game. I know that
this is your surprise attack.
The surprise attack. Most people don't really like to run it in main deck right now. We didn't really prepare a side deck for the budget side, but
yeah, but you know that double strike when you got your opponent down to just 2 life left and they don't expect it, like that's pressure right there. That's your opponent has no choice but to defend or die in that situation.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much the deck in a nutshell. It's about $66 to pick up if you want to pick up this deck as is, like the flutes, the 2 Whis, not the 4, the Boost Attack Piccolos, I believe, and the Kibito Kai. Obviously, prices fluctuate depending on what you already own and what you want to do with this deck. So, I hope you guys...
The main place, if you're curious too, the main place you could upgrade this would be to swap the Jirins for... What's the name of that Gohan card? The really expensive one? The new one?
Burst Attack Gohan.
Burst Attack Gohan would probably go well in that slot. It's just another card that takes advantage of the Trunks.
There's also Miraculous Comeback Ultimate Gohan, which is a
Yeah.
really good high/low drop. I'd say it'd be a good 2 of in this deck if you want to mix some stuff around. But yeah, I think it's better for us to continue on to our next deck. The next deck is something of a more of a fun/competitive deck. It has a bit of a gimmicky thing to it, and I'll let Rex explain. It's his deck.
I wanted to. Well, there's 2 reasons that I decided to go with this deck. So this is Baby Control. There are 2 main reasons why I picked this. The main one, the most primary, is that I see this actually being a very powerful deck right now. Obviously, I haven't seen it too much in action, but the fact that it can pop, like, it can pop anything up to 15,000 power, like, instantly. So a lot of what's being played in the red-blue deck right now is between 5,000 and 15,000. Because
most decks do run the chain, mostly play the Chain Attack Trunks targets as their main cards.
So this deck, I see it as, while it's maybe not the best deck, I see it as being a very powerful anti-meta option right now.
A very good rogue deck, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. The second reason I chose this deck is because it's something that it's something for people who don't really want to play like a meta type deck, if that makes sense. Like, this is much more themed. This is almost entirely made up of GT cards, except for like the Terrasalt Frost, the Topo, like everything else. Oh, and I guess the Masked Sand, but pretty much everything else it falls within the GT theme. And I think that that's just like, that's one of the things that I think is really fun about this game, is when you get to play cards that fit within like an era of the show.
And I love this deck purely because it plays the big monster of the archetype.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna play this smaller one, you might as well, because they lead into each other very easily.
So with the deck, Baby, let's talk about
so we
his
need
ability.
to explain Baby.
Yeah. Talk about.
So
Baby.
this is gonna probably sound pretty underwhelming at first, but it has. When this card attacks a leader card, draw 1 card.
They're doing that a lot
part's
right now.
Pretty straightforward.
In Colossal Warfare, I believe like every leader did that on their front side.
Yeah, I think so. And it stands energy when it awakens. So that's pretty straightforward. But on the flip side, we have Rampaging Great Ape Baby. So when this card attacks, draw 1 card, then choose one of your battle cards and one of your opponent's battle cards, and they both lose 10,000 power for the duration of the turn. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, why would I want to make one of my own battle cards lose 10,000 power? But the thing is, you don't have to attack with Baby first. Like, you can attack in any order. So if you like have Chain Attack Trunks on the field and you swing with that card, then you attack with Baby, it's only going to lose that 10,000 for the turn, so it doesn't really matter anymore. And you're probably just going to remove your opponent's, like, what is it? The Intensifying Power Trunks is easily popped.
Or the Kaba, or honestly, some other. There's the Goten card in yellow that when it attacks, it searches. There are a lot of good targets for that, yes.
Yeah. But that's not even like the best part of the removal in this deck, because that's only 10,000. 10,000 isn't great. Like, there aren't really any 10,000 power targets, I think, in the red-blue deck. This is mostly going to be for popping the small boys.
Yes, it'll mainly be popping the Kabas and your Trunkses.
Yeah, or if you want to like swing at something that's bigger to get rid of it.
Yep.
So, we'll get to the big boy in a second, but Baby Dawn of Vengeance is actually just a promo from set 3.
Yes, it is. For 4 copies of it, it's about $3.
It's
a
pretty
really
cheap.
good 3-drop, and even better off of Chain Attack Trunks.
Yeah, so this card's, that's the main reason I chose this one as opposed to the 4-drop Baby and the 1-drop Baby. Both of which are pretty good, but this one is easily playable off of Chain Attack Trunks, and when you play this card, if your leader card is Machine Mutant, which Baby is, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, it loses 15,000 for the duration of the turn. So yeah, it's just basically a free pop against any red-blue deck. So that's awesome. But then you can evolve it for 4 energy, so basically on the next turn after you play that probably. Apocryphal Great Grudge Great Ape Baby. You're probably not going to resolve this too much, but it's good to have it around. You could probably even cut it down to 2 if you really wanted to.
It is a $2 card, so you'll get about You'll need about $6 to pick up 3 copies of this, so on and so forth. Simple math.
Yeah. So this one evolves for 2 red and 2 non-colored. Doesn't really matter. You only play red in this deck anyway. This guy has triple strike, so
which is always good because that's basically
huge.
equal to a critical hit. Basically, triple
Yeah.
strike is just along the lines of critical hit.
When this card attacks or your opponent plays a battle card, if your leader card is a machine mutant, draw 1 card, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, and it loses 20,000 power for the duration of the turn. Now that's the steepest you're going to get. That's the highest amount you're going to reduce a card by. And that's enough to take out Chain Attack Trunks, so that's pretty sweet.
But at the same time, Chain Attack Trunks isn't exactly the thing you want to hit on the board.
No, but
like,
it is something
Chain
you
Attack
can
Trunks
get rid
is
of.
only really used for the turn it's played.
Yeah.
But obviously that 20,000 if your opponent's playing Topo, that means you can get take down their Topo as well. There are multiple 20k cards in every single color in every single deck that's a really good target and really mean target for, especially since your opponent can play that 20k and then you can pop it immediately.
And it can still pop pretty much anything else that's smaller. So
exactly, it might as well just say KO
it's pretty
card.
Good. Yeah, it might as well. Obviously, it's not going to hit anything bigger, but
Yeah.
not too many people are playing stuff
I would
bigger
say
than 20,000 right now.
I would say it might as well say KO for 4 energy or less.
Right. So we are playing the Trunks combo. Same as before.
Same prices. Those won't change for a while.
Yeah. We are playing more Chain Attack Trunks here because we do really want to resolve it with this deck.
But what you didn't see in the other deck was the next card, which is Fearless Pan. This is probably the most expensive card in the deck.
Probably.
I believe it's around $8. Yep, $8. So
I love this card.
Same.
Since we're not playing blue, you can't really go without it. You play so many crit attackers that being able to give them double strike just by playing it off of Chain Attack Trunks is really powerful. There's really not much to say. It's a blocker with barrier that has doubles, that gives a bunch of stuff +5 and double strike.
including your leader if it is red.
Including your leader. And this can actually help one of your cards survive Baby's debuff too. So
It could.
there's that. Planet M2.
You do not get the draw off Planet M2, unfortunately, because
You
your leader's
do get
not.
the draw. Oh, it's Dr.
No,
Mew. Yeah,
it's
it's not a
Dr.
Machine
Mew.
Mutant. You're right.
Specifically
Yeah, I wish it was
Dr. Mew.
Machine Mutant.
Yeah, but it makes sense that it's
it's
Dr. Mew.
Dr. Mew. But the other effect is really good.
The other effect is good, and the only reason why it's in this deck.
Yeah, so it's an activate battle. This is a field card. It just goes in your battle area.
I'm still waiting
Can't
for them
be
to
removed
make
by much.
I'm still waiting for them to make the Destroy Planet card, and that be the field removal.
It's got to be when Frieza. Oh no! This planet will explode in 5 minutes. Will be the card name.
Yeah, dude, I'm down. I'm so down.
Okay, so this
Either
is a
that or
field
Majin
card.
Buu.
That would be great too. Switch this card to rest mode. Activate battle. If it's your turn, choose up to one of your opponent's leader cards or battle cards. It loses 5,000 power for the duration of the battle.
Man, if
So,
only
that's
it could,
really good.
If only you could
You
do
know
it
what's-
on your opponent's turn.
I think you can.
No,
Just activate battle.
It literally just said if it's your turn, though.
Oh yeah. You're right.
If that if that was the thing, I think it'd be a much better card.
Right. So this is a card you're probably going to use most when you're going second. When you're going
First.
first.
Because if you're
then
going
it's on your
second, you
third
kind of
turn.
want intensifying power trunks as your one
This
drop.
is pretty much only for popping 1 drops.
Yeah, basically.
which there are plenty of. Even if you go against a green deck, this card is going to pop the little Gohan.
The little youth Gohan.
Yeah.
Same lineup as with the Digging Deep Vegetas and the Terrasalt Frost.
Terrasalt
Again,
Frost, they're a
same
good
thing.
combination of cards. It's kind of hard not to play them when they're so cheap.
Quick Rush Trunks, just a plain out good 2-drop.
Really good 2-drop. Yeah.
It brings on more pressure. If you play your Intensifying Power Trunks first turn, you play this second turn, 2 of the same attacks right in a row. It's as early game as that is, it is really hard to deal with in certain decks.
Your opponent's not going to have fun with this thing on the field, especially if you buff it with Fearless Pain.
Especially if you buff it with Fearless Pain. Oof. The Intensifying Power Trunks we already talked about. The Pride Just Topos. Handy Giru is just a regular super combo. This is just the cheapest one currently.
You could play the Vados. Is it a Vados or is it a...
It's Vados.
Yeah, you could play the Vados if you want to, but I chose the Handy Giru because it fits the theme. I don't even know why they printed this card.
Oh, they wanted to.
I think they just wanted something that could be searched by GT searchers.
They wanted a starter deck super combo that was GT since it was a GT starter deck. The Double Shot Vegetas are the same thing as the Raging Spirit Gohans. Pretty simple stuff. Probably around the same price, I think. Maybe a little cheaper since this one is in red instead of the blue. But
you might be wondering why we're not playing the Goku. It's mostly because you don't get those 3 standing energy at the end of your turn.
That is a thing that if you want in this deck, I don't think it would hurt it at all.
Yeah, and we play something that's almost kind of more useful to this deck in the form of Revenge Death Ball, which is an activate battles, and it doesn't say on your turn. So you can use this on your opponent's turn. You can use this when you've only placed 1 energy on your first turn even.
You could.
So if your leader card is a red baby, it gains plus 10,000 power for the duration of the battle. Then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and loses 15,000 for the duration of the turn. So this is your opponent plays Intensifying Power Trunks, you have the 1 energy standing, just pop it.
Yep. Again, this might as well
Who cares?
This might as well just say pop something that is 3 or less energy, honestly. Yeah. But again,
so this deck is all about removal.
Vow Revenge. It might as well be the red legendary flute. It is.
It might as well be. For
so goddamn good. It is.
Yeah.
Like, this makes the Baby and Dr. Mew decks that you may or may not see. I really don't know. But yeah. I
think Baby has been making the rounds.
Has they?
Even if it's
I
not
know
as
that
popular.
Dr. Mew did when it first came out.
Yeah.
So explain your Unending Awakening.
Okay. So you aren't playing a lot of negates because you really don't want to be using your energy for
you want to rush your opponent.
Game.
You want to control and rush your opponent at the same time with this deck, basically.
Yeah, you really want to be either popping your opponent's shit or be playing your own Intensifying Power Trunks. Unending Awakening is just something you're usually not going to have energy standing for in the early game, so you really don't want to play more than a couple copies. But the main reason you play this negate over Vados' Assistance is because the flip side of Baby that you're likely to get to very fast is actually counted as a Saiyan because it's a Great Ape.
It is a Saiyan Great Ape.
So this is going to make it much harder for your opponent to get over your leader. If you use this on like an early attack on your opponent's turn, it's really good. I wish this could be played with more decks, but there just aren't that many Red Saiyan leaders. I guess there are a lot of Red Saiyan leaders, but
there are quite a few Red Saiyan leaders.
But people don't. A lot of them are kind of terrible.
Some
of them are really good.
Yeah, no, some of them are really great. Like Majin Vegeta, it's an amazing card.
Majin Vegeta is great.
So now it's time for the black card of the deck. Usually every deck will have at least 2 copies of a black card. So he is main decking Forced Ejection Mass Saiyan for those Super Saiyan 3 matchups.
Yeah.
Basically, I wouldn't say you need this card against that if you're not playing that deck, but it is very good to at least have in your side deck. I personally do not like it in your main deck mainly because it's a very, very dead card in your deck. Like, you can play it out, and it's a 15k attacker, but it does nothing else at all.
So if you don't know, Force Ejection Mass Saiyan is an Overwhelm 3 for 1 energy. If you activate main once per turn, if you have placed a card in your energy during your charge phase this turn, and you have less energy than your opponent, choose one of your opponent's energy and send it to their warp. So this only works in 2 situations. One, you're playing against SS3 Goku, or you lost the dice roll.
Even then, it's not possible. Unless if you forgot to place energy one turn.
Your opponent can be ahead of you.
Maybe with objection.
No, you're right. Well, yeah, I guess with objection, but
if they played objection, but you will always be even, especially since it says that thing where you have to play energy that turn.
You're right. The main reason, it really is just.
It's just
there because you are probably going to see a lot of SS3 Goku
for a while until something happens with that leader, or something. It
sort of depends on your philosophy with the card game like this. Like, if you think this is going to make you more successful, play it. Otherwise, Noah has a replacement option.
Time Patrol Trunks has gone down in viewing lately. Like, not many people are using them in their decks. They've replaced it with Time's Choice Supreme Kai of Time, which is arguably better, but that does specifically search for a battle card. Time Patrol Trunks only searches 2, but you can grab any card, and with a deck like this, you have a lot of extra cards. Your Planet M2, your Death Ball, your Vow Revenge. You're going to want more than just the battle cards. Don't get me wrong, those are still good.
It's good to have the option to grab any of these extra cards, because they are very powerful.
You could play that if you prefer. That is the cheaper side to Time Patrol Trunks, because Time Patrol Trunks right now is still $5 to $6, so this deck, as it is right now, is around $55. But if you were to add the Time Patrol Trunkses, that'd be closer to around maybe $65. This deck you could probably get for as low as $50. So the range here is $50 to $65, depending on what you want to use. There are also you could play Foos if you want to. Anything. You could I honestly think that I think that you could play any black card that isn't too high of a cost, like Scientist Fu or Mystery Shrouded Fu.
Just pick a favorite.
Just pick a favorite, or pick the cheapest one that's still good, as long as it actually does something. I personally believe that Force Ejection Mass Saiyan is a really good card for the side deck specifically.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, that's gonna wrap things up, I think.
Well, actually, I was thinking about it, and I do have a green deck that I could show off. I don't think I will in this video, but I do have some changes to make it, so if people do want to see it eventually, I can bring it out. It's an Android 13 deck that I find really fun, and it plays a lot of the Green Goku stuff from set 3. It's kind of slow, and it takes some luck to pop off, but if it does, it's kind of guaranteed to win. It's very, very devastating if it does.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're looking at green options, you can play sort of a similar You can play an SS3 Goku deck using sort of the Maiden Squadron build as an example.
Yeah.
Maiden Squadron's really cheap. It's a very good engine in the deck. That's an option. We don't really have a build here for it, but
we don't really have a build for anything yellow either. If again people want to see something more competitive that way, we could definitely try to put something together and have a good time with it. But I hope you guys did enjoy this. I hope this is some valuable feedback for those of you that want to do a little bit something cheaper. And if you have any ideas yourself, please come tell us. We will we'll definitely take them into consideration. All right. Bye bye everyone.
Bye.
Keep going on. All right.
I don't know. That's what popped into my head right after you did it, so I just went for it.